Well, hey there, it's Pete with GCI Turf. Hope you're having a great day or great night tonight. A little different style video. I've done all the work in the yard. The B-roll is what I guess you call it. This past weekend, Saturday, it was 65 degrees or so. Super nice weather, just real pleasant, real good day to be out in the yard and get some things done. And today is Wednesday and we're back really cold again. I think the low was 40 degrees last night. And of course I know to some of you that's not really cold, but it's cold to me. And I think we're high in the 50s. A few mornings this week we got down 28, 29, something like that. So it's almost dark. So we're gonna do this in here, and I'll talk you through everything that I did this past weekend. So to start, I changed up my lawn care program just a little bit this year, and there was one reason, and one reason alone I did that. I've always put down the protein 2005 early to mid-February. That's typically when we start feeding turf around here, and doing pre-emergent. I've done that for a few years now, and you guys have followed along. If you're following my lawn care guide, you definitely were following along. And one of the complaints I kind of got, not really a complaint, but concern maybe would be a better word, is people wouldn't get that instant green up like they would in the past when they were using more like a fast release fertilizer. The reason for that is that the protein is just a very slow release fertilizer. You're not going to get that instant pop of color like you would get if you're putting down a fast release. So obviously when it's a little bit colder outside, it's going to release a little bit slower. To compensate for that, or to change things up, I kind of flip-flopped a couple of applications. I went with a liquid with my first application, and of course that's got a good quick release component in it. And around here, our days in mid-February get pleasant enough to where it can, you'll get that jump, or you'll get that kick that you're looking for with that instant green up. So I applied that. I got my instant green up. Of course, I went with the new GCI 2000, and again, that's not available yet. It's really close. My wife, bless her, she's been doing all the registrations in all the states, and this is something totally completely brand new for us, is registering a fertilizer in all the states. And so it's a little bit of a learning curve to it, and we're just not set up to do it quickly like big time fertilizer companies are. We're small beans here, so be patient with us. That's coming. Now, I done that application about a month ago. Yard's really nice and green. I got a really good pop from that, from the quick release aspect of that. And now we're getting to the point to where things are going to start to warm up. This cold snap we're in now is just kind of a little, it's going to be here for a minute and then it's going to go right away, because we're supposed to warm right back up toward the end of the week. With that said, felt like it was time to go and get down my, I call it my main fertilizer during the springtime. And that's when I go down with, it's right about 3/4 pounds of nitrogen. I think one of my favorite things about it is it's homogeneous, meaning you have a prill. And when you hear me say the word prill, I'm talking about an individual granule of fertilizer. If you reach down in the bag and pick you up a little scoop and you sift through it and you pick out one little small pebble or one little granule of the fertilizer, that's what I'm calling a prill. I think the SGN on it's about 150. I have to look at the bag and see exactly, but regardless of what the number is, it's a very tiny prill, very small prill. So a lot of homeowners like that. Okay, a lot of homeowners don't have commercial ride-on spreaders or Lesco push spreaders or Anderson push spreaders. They've got the ones that you might get at Lowe's, like an Echo or even an Earthway, which Earthway really doesn't have any trouble with it. The Scotts, the little edge guard, I think is what they call it. Typically a larger Prill fertilizer, that might give a little bit of trouble spreading it. But with the smaller Prill size, all those spreaders have absolutely no issues spreading it whatsoever. And I think that's one of the favorite things, at least that's what I've been told by a lot of homeowners that use this. The other thing is, it's almost near impossible to burn the turf. Okay, I know a lot of people get kind of wig out and get freaked out about, oh man, I put down a little bit too much fertilizer and it's gonna burn the grass. Well, I've actually went out here and put down a whole lot of it at one time, just to see, one, how hard I could push the turf without causing any issues, and number two, just to see if I got any type of burn out of it at all, and zero. It's just very, very, very minimal chance of you burning your turf using this fertilizer. So what makes it so special, I think one of the things is the ingredients. Of course, protein uses some of the better ingredients on the market. Methylene urea being one of them. You get a really, really good color out of that. The technology behind their homogeneous formulation is really, really strong. It's proprietary to them, meaning I think they're the only people that do it this way. People rave about the color of their yard they get from this because it's just such a deep dark green. And I don't mow quite as often because you're not getting those surge growth like you get with some other fertilizers that may just be packed with urea or something like that. So few good points about the fertilizer right there. Spreads good, slow release, good color, don't burn. Now, one thing you do want to do is make sure after you make your application of the protein, you go back and you blow all your hard surfaces off. That's a big deal. This does have some iron in it, so once the water hits that and begins to release, you don't want that iron staining your concrete. So it's best to blow the concrete off, blow your driveway off while it's dry so that you can get every last little granular off, and then when it rains, you're good to go. Now, I've been playing around with my TurfWare spray boom a little bit, and I'm doing that because I've had a lot of folks ask me, can you still do low volume with the TurfWare spray boom? And of course the answer is yes with that, but I need to go through the motions and do it and make sure that it's actually capable and get some hardcore numbers to give back to you guys or the folks who have been asking the questions. So when I'm running the gallon per 1,000 calibration on it, I think that's the 010 or 08, I can't remember which one it was. 08 or 010, whatever the light blue color T-Jet dual fan tips are. And I went out and wanted to try the low volume. I started off with a couple of different tips, and I had to work my way all the way down to a 03. I think 03 is the dark blue color T-Jet, and I used the AI air induction fan tip, and I could maintain my same speed that I do at a gallon per 1,000. My coverage was relatively the same as far as the pattern goes on the ground, and I got it all the way down to a quart per 1,000. So yes, that's 32 ounces of finished solution per 1,000 square feet. And please don't let that confuse you. Regardless if I'm going down at a gallon per 1,000 or if I'm going down at 32 ounces per 1,000, the same amount of product goes on 1,000 square feet. You're just using less, or you're using more water carrier to get that product onto the 1,000 square feet. So don't be confused by that. So at a quart per 1,000, I have a 25 gallon tank on my TurfWare, and there are 4 quarts per gallon. 4 times 25 is 100. That means I can cover 100,000 square feet on one fill up with a 25 gallon tank. So I wanted to give the yard a little extra kick, give it a little extra color coming out of this little cold snap. So I went down with some Green Effect, which is their iron product, the 700. I made the application to my fescue bluegrass rye mix. I call it the mutt mix right here around the house. And then I also made the exact same application to the bluegrass. That was the protein plus the Green Effect. So the way I double checked this calibration at a quart per thousand to make sure it was, pretty accurate is I've got 30,000 square feet. So I multiply that times 32 ounces, which that's how many ounces are in a quart. That's 960 ounces total. Then I divide that by 128 ounces in a gallon. That means I need a total of about 7.5 gallons to cover 30,000 square feet. Let's go back over that one more time, a little bit slower so you're not confused. 30,000 square feet, if we're putting 32 ounces on 1,000 square feet, you multiply 30 times 32. You get 960. That's ounces, 960 ounces. We need to know how many gallons to convert that to. So you divide 960 by 128 because there's 128 ounces in 1 gallon. That comes up to a total of 7.5 gallons. So spray the entire yard, all the 15,000 square foot of fescue around the house and the 15,000 square foot of bluegrass back there in the back. Finished up, stopped, went and grabbed the camera. So can you spray low volume with the TurfWare boom? I mixed up enough for 30,000 square feet, and that's what's left in the bottom of that tank. And that's what's left in the bottom of that tank, so the answer is yes. So, looks like I'm pretty dang close to being spot on, so yes, you can spray a quart per thousand with the TurfWare spray boom. Now, I have my neighbor's yard on my mind too. I haven't actually put their pre-emergent down, so went down with some prodiamine, the WDG, which is a water soluble granule, and you actually take this and you mix it in with water and it becomes a liquid. There's a granular pre-emergent prodiamine that you put out with a spreader, and then even though this WDG prodiamine in the smaller jug gets a little tiny granular, you don't spread that with a spreader. Okay, you add it to water and it liquefies and then you spray it. I know some of you guys that been doing this for a while, you're like, Pete, that's the dumbest thing ever. We already know that. Well, I know you do, but I get hundreds of emails. And you would be surprised at how many times the new beginner lawn care guy or gal has to ask, hey, do I spread this or do I spray it? And that's not a stupid question to me. Okay, some people might think that's a dumb question, but to me, it's not a dumb question because, if you don't ask the question, you'll never know the answer. So I see no question as being a stupid question when we're dealing with lawn care, especially beginners, because you'll never know unless you ask. So once you get that liquefied at whatever rate you're going down at, you'd put it in your sprayer and go apply it. Now I wanted to try something else here because I was using this new calibration, a quart per thousand. I wanted to use a little bit heavier material, so I went down with some Humic 12. And those of you that use that know that's a little bit thicker of a product. So if anything I could have sprayed that is going to mess up the calibration or throw it off or clog up the nozzles or whatever, it would be Humic 12 and then this WDG prodiamine. So I mixed both those together, went over and sprayed my neighbor's yard, and I had absolutely zero issues whatsoever with it. None. With all that said, just to answer a question, can you use the TurfWare spray boom and spray low volume at a quart per thousand? You absolutely can. Now I got a new spray gun that we are going to be using on our TurfWares for our local company. I'm going to have these on the website. They're going to be available to hook directly to your flow zone sprayer. I'll be doing a video on that really soon to show you a dedicated video on how to use it with the flow zone. And then I'll also be doing a dedicated video on the TurfWare to show you how to use this handgun. I'm going to be using it to edge out around properties and flower beds and along the roadside, smaller areas that you really can't get to with the spray boom, or even with the standard flood nozzles that come on a TurfWare. There's just some places that you can't get to, but this gun replaces the factory hand spray gun on the TurfWare, and this is absolutely incredible. So I'll be doing quite a few videos with this handgun here in the near future, just to show it to you, just because I think it's game-changing stuff, especially if you have a ride-on spreader. It's not just for the TurfWare. The way we have it structured on the website, you can go in there and look around and see, but it has several different options. So if you got a TurfWare, you select this option. If you got a flow zone, you select this option. And if you got any other ride-on spreader, you select this option. They come two ways. They got the gallon per minute version. And then for people who spray off a skid sprayer, off a truck, and want a different type of spray gun for applications, I've got the 2 gallon per minute option as well. So again, a lot of that's coming. I'm gonna show you several videos here in the near future about using that gun, and I'm excited about it. It's a really nice, it's super high quality, made right here in the USA, stainless steel nozzle, and actually I think the actual gun, the handle part, is made in Italy, but the stainless steel fitting on the end is made in the United States by Americans. So that's a big deal. That's kind of what I had going on in the yard this past weekend. Got a lot done, and like I said, here we are Wednesday, so that's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. 4 days later, we've had one rain on the yard, good slow soaking rain, and the green effect in the iron product is really kicked it in gear. It's super dark green now, and then the protein is well on its way to doing its thing as well. So I hope you like this style video. If it's cold and dark again, I might do this again. If not, we'll get back in the yard. As always, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch. I'll check you later.